everyone. Welcome to Storytime with Sarson Suppers. So today we are going to be talking about parsley. One of my favorite herbs, one of the most widely used herbs, and we're going to be learning the who, what, when, where, why, how of it all. With each of the herbal episodes that I'm going to be doing, I will be talking about the history of the herb, which also includes the spirituality. I may even use the word magic or folklore, intertwine them, because they are all connected. I will also be talking about the medicinal uses and properties of the herb, as well as the culinary aspect of it. So, parsley. Why? We see it today mostly as a garnish or sprinkled on top of a plate, but there really is so much more to this herb than we know about. We're going to take it back a little bit to ancient Greece. So parsley has been known to be used for millennia, and some of the first written accounts of it go back to ancient Greece. It was or is known as the herb of Persephone. And Persephone was a goddess. She was the daughter of Demeter. And there's a whole story behind why the herb became known to Persephone, but that is another longer story for another day. And Persephone was beautiful. She was beloved by Hades, the god of the underworld, and she was kidnapped by him, dragged down to become his queen, and parsley has remained with her. We're gonna go into a little bit more as to why. So, why parsley and Persephone? So parsley has a really long taproot. It also takes longer than normal for the herb to germinate. Most herbs germinate around 10 to 15 days. Parsley can take up to 25 days. Now, with this long taproot that parsley has, it is said that, and because of the long germination time, that the seeds, again, which are beloved by Persephone, have to travel all the way down to the underworld to her and back up again, which is why it takes so long for them to start growing, and the reason for the long taproot. Also, because of this association with Persephone and the underworld, the ancient Greeks used parsley a lot as a funerary herb. They would decorate the bodies with it, they would plant it in the graveyards. They didn't really do too much eating of parsley because of this aspect and this association with death. What they did, however, do is use it as a garnish on their plate. The reason being, they wanted to offer to their ancestors, make an offering to their ancestors using the herb that is most closely associated with death, thanking them for the meal that they were about to ingest or eat. Now, the ancient Romans took those stories of Persephone and turned them into their own for a little bit. So instead of being a funerary herb or one that was really related to death, they took it as a sign of protection. So parsley was quite often interwoven into wedding bouquets and wreaths to help the bride and the groom be protected from any harmful spirits that might be coming about. Also in conjunction to Hades and Persephone, the god who stole his bride, in order to protect yourself and have a happy marriage and life together. Now, the ancient Romans started using this more medicinally as well. Now, while the ancient Greeks used parsley as an offering onto their plate to honor the dead, the Romans used parsley on their plate at the end of the meal for digestion. They also knew that it would help with bad breath, which was an issue back then. I'm sure dental health care was not the quality that we have today. Now, as history transitions from the ancient Romans to Christianity, the Christians changed the story up a little bit. Instead of having the seeds have to go down to Hades, to the underworld, they would have to travel 7 times down to hell to visit the devil, which is why the folklore story that you need to plant parsley on before noon on Good Friday in order to ensure germination, although sometimes the devil would steal your seeds, which is why not all of your seeds would sprout. And today, parsley is the most consumed herb in the United States, with over $19 million sold in 2016. And considering I bought this organic bunch at Sprouts for 99 cents, that is a lot of parsley. Now let's get to the medicinal aspect of it. Parsley is really, really high in nutrients. It's high in vitamin C, beta carotene, and also vitamin K1. Just half of a cup of fresh parsley is equal to 553% of your daily nutritional value for vitamin K1, which is a lot, obviously. It is you're able to get most of your nutrients by actually just consuming the herb. So don't just sprinkle it on there. You'll want to have a decent amount in whatever it is that you're serving in order to receive those nutritional benefits. Parsley is also a fantastic antioxidant. It helps reduce chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. However, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, watch your consume of parsley. Do not ingest a lot of it. Same with blood thinners. And as always, if you have any questions, consult your doctor first. That brings us to usage today. So your regular garden variety parsley is in the same family as dill and carrots. The scientific name is Petrocillium crispum. And it is a biennial plant, which means that it lasts around 2 seasons. So the first season you have it growing, again, that long germination time to have the long taproot. The second season is when it will flower, seed itself, and die. We cultivate parsley now because wild foraging parsley, which of course is how it was before in the beginning, before cultivation, was often mistaken for poison hemlock, which is something you do not want to ingest. There are a couple varieties of parsley today. There's the Hamburg and Japanese variety, which we are not familiar with because they don't really have culinary purposes. And then there are the flat leaf or Italian and the curly parsley. What's the difference? So growing up, I am familiar with the curly parsley. That's what we always use. It's used in a lot of Germanic and Western European cooking, German and French a lot of times. And then there's Italian parsley. I didn't even know Italian parsley existed until I met Michael, and needless to say, there was an argument as to which parsley was the better of the two. Turns out they both have their value and they both have their uses. Now, flat leaf parsley, well, I guess how can you tell the difference, right? Besides the curly part of it and the flat leaf part, the main difference is that the curly parsley actually has more nutritional benefit for you. It has a stronger aromatic flavor and it is more green, whereas the curly parsley is used still today more as a garnish and as flavoring and mild flavoring in certain foods. So how can you use parsley today? Well, like I previously stated, if you want to use the whole plant, you can use the long taproot, dry it, and make a tea or a tincture for digestive issues, bladder, gall, and any other type of internal stomach problems that you might have. The stems are perfect to just break off, tie in a piece of string, and add to your roasts or your stews, making what they call in the culinary world today a bouquet garni. And now we go to the leaves. this is what we most use in our cooking. And how do you know which one to use when? Well, that really depends on your preference. And most of the time, the Italian version, the flat leaf, is used for cooking because it is easier. It's easier to cut. It's easier to add into with your other herbs. It has, again, more of the nutritional value, and it is greener, so it looks a little bit prettier. We today are going to be making a dish that incorporates both of the parsleys, particularly because the curly parsley will be allowing a little bit more floof and fluffiness to the dish, and the flat leaf parsley will be giving us that added nutritional value. So come along and join me as we make tabouli with beef kafta kebabs. Okay, so we are going to make our beef kafta kebabs first. What does kafta mean? Kafta. It essentially just means ground beef. So kebabs actually were originally written about in the 14th century, in 1377, I believe. And it was actually the Turkish army that invented the kebabs as we know them today, where they were, when they were hunting, they would take the animals and their swords, right, and skewer the animals, or big chunks of the animals onto their swords, and then roast them over the fire. So that has evolved into what we now know as kebabs. Kafta kebabs are usually with ground beef or ground lamb. So they're pretty simple to make, this version that we're doing. You have a pound of your ground beef. Then you take about a cup of parsley. So I did half a cup of the curly, half a cup of the Italian, and about a third cup of mint, and dump that right in there. You also will want feta cheese, green onion or scallions. Not this much. I cut this up for the couscous for later, so we're gonna, sharing is caring, and do about half. And I cut 4 scallions total, so about 2 for each. Maybe 1.5, we'll say, for the meat. And then we will add our spices of salt, pepper, cinnamon, and cayenne for a little heat. Right over top. And take our trusty favorite microplane, a clove of garlic, and just run that across. Now, the reason I'm not using my grater plate is because to do that, you should add water to get the best results. And I don't want to add any water to my beef mixture. I just want to get it very fine so all of it can be incorporated and you just don't have big chunks of garlic. Now, get your gloves if you prefer. If not, no biggie. I can get these suckers on. It's a good thing I'm not a doctor. It takes too long. And just start incorporating. Your feta will get more ground up. If you are using the chunk version, you don't have to really crumble it before you put it in there, because all of this really great combining that you're doing right now with your hands will do that process for you. And you can do this, a couple hours prior to actually creating your kebabs. It will really help the flavors sort of meld in there. I am doing it first exactly for that reason, but then we are going to be putting them directly onto the kebabs for time's sake. All right. Now, look at that there. It is a beautiful mixture of all of your meat, your herbs, your spices, and now we go on to the skewering. When you skewer ground beef, so we have 4 skewers here. This is a pound. I'm pretty much just going to take the ball and half it again. So quarter it up, and that looks pretty even. And then depending on your preference, I'm gonna do like 2 smaller kebabs on each. You'll want to take your ball and form like a little line in there and get that like nice and good, because you don't want it to be too wide. You don't want it to fall apart. You want it to really like stick in there, and make sure that there is really no air in between where your kebab skewer is and your meat. That will help it stay on for you. And so we're gonna do this with the rest of these skewers. All right, our kebabs are all done. They're pretty even on all sides because you want them to have a very similar cooking time. We're going to put this in the fridge for a few moments just to sort of harden up and chill, and then we will pull them out prior to grilling. Okay, now we are going to make our tabouli. What is tabouli? Tabouli is the official dish of Lebanon, and it is very parsley focused. Like, that is the main ingredient in the dish. You will traditionally see it in Middle Eastern cuisines along with the mezza. And the mezza is like the little salads and the dips that you get with your meal, and it's typically eaten with pita bread or with romaine leaves and dipped and all put together. You will have your tabouli, your baba ganoush, your hummus, your labna, or your tzatziki, depending on where you're at. And there are 1,000 different recipes for tabouli, but always the main ingredient is the parsley. Traditionally, it is made with bulgur, which is a cracked wheat, and I could not find bulgur at my local grocery store, so we are going with couscous, which is something that us Americans are very familiar with. So I made my couscous already. It's very easy to make. It's a 1-to-1 ratio of 1 cup couscous and 1 cup water, or for a pro tip, use chicken stock when you're cooking it. I also like to toast my couscous prior to making it, and to get a little fancy, we made rack of lamb over the weekend, so I had some lamb fat that we had rendered, and I toasted it in lamb fat. So that is our couscous. You cook it, you take your couscous, you toast it, you add 1 cup of boiling water to your 1 cup of your dried couscous, remove it from the heat, cover it, let it sit for 5 minutes, take a fork and fluff it up. You're done. Now, to go on with the tabouli, you want to add, of course, the star of the show, your parsley. We're using both the curly and the Italian flat leaf for the nutrients for the flat leaf and that really strong parsley aroma, and to give it a bit of that fluffiness with the curly parsley, we're going to be using that as well. So I have about 1 cup of each in here, and just dump that right in. You have tomatoes. I have about 2 cups of tomatoes. Decent sized bite chunks. Cucumber. If you're not using English cucumber, you'll want to peel and de-seed your regular garden variety of cucumber. It all of that in there. Your green onions. Whoop. Gotta run away. Of course, don't forget to generously season with your salt and pepper. A little bit more of that pepper. Your squirt bottle of your olive oil to just drizzle over top. If you don't add the olive oil, your couscous can get really dry. And it is typically a salad, so you have like your fat and your acid with your lemon. And I will be using the juice of one lemon. Now, with tabouli, along with many salads that are similar to this, it is best eaten after a couple hours. I prefer to let mine sit at room temperature. And it really lets the flavors all meld together. Also a runaway lemon seed that Addie's looking for. That in there. All right, beautiful. So then just mix it up. Make sure you get everything really incorporated. And you want to be gentle when you mix it because you want the couscous to stay fluffy. Same with your curly parsley. You don't really want to beat it up or mix it too terribly much. But now you can see in our salad, there's all of those greens, the red tomatoes, the green onions. Oh, did I add my mint? I think I did. I just didn't say anything. Also, there is about 1/4 of a cup of mint in here, which was mixed in with the parsley and the curly parsley and the fat leaf parsley. So mint, parsley, tomato, cucumber, couscous, lemon juice, olive oil, salt and pepper, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So now we're going to set this to the side, give it an hour or so to let those kebabs again firm up. We'll want to pull them out, give them about 20 minutes to come to room temperature, and then we will grill. All right, so we are back. Our kebabs have rested in the fridge and then they've been brought out to room temp. Our grill is hot and searing, so I'm gonna go put these on and then we're gonna be almost ready for dinner. Okay, so our kefta kebabs are on the grill and now we are pretty much ready to plate. The tabouli has been sitting and melding. Let's just twist you over there a little bit. Hi, hopefully that's better. Our tabouli has been sitting and melting, letting all of those good flavors sort of just come together to make a delicious salad. Now, what you might notice after having it sit out for a little bit is that it might seem dry, which is completely normal. All of those juices from your olive oil and your lemon juice have been sucked up by the couscous and by the vegetables. So feel free to add a little bit more, which is what we're going to be doing right before we serve. So just drizzle a little more olive oil and we will be adding another half of a lemon. I really like tangy things, so of course the lemon juice is to your taste. Get all that good stuff in there and give it a good stir. Now the reason why I have some romaine leaves here is because traditionally the tabouli, like I said before, served with the mezza, you have all the different salads, and you eat it as scoops with your pita bread or some romaine salad. So we're gonna just, while we're plating this up right now, just add some right here. right onto the leaves to help you out with your scooping, get yourself all set up for it for success. All right, yummy. Now let's go check on the kebabs. Right, our kebabs are done and they look fantastic. Now, when you're getting ready to plate or serve these, just be careful because these are metal skewers, so they are extremely hot. Safety first. Put one of these right here. And we will just slide another one right off right there. There we go. Turn that up. So now we have our beautiful salad, little lemon wedge, our kefta kebabs, our tabouli, and of course our parsley. All right. So there we are. Ain't she a beaut, Clark? Now, let's just recap quickly. What did we learn today about parsley? The ancient Greeks associated it with Persephone as being the queen of the underworld because of the long taproot and the long germination time. The ancient Romans, the Greeks also used it as a funerary herb, right? Funerary herb. The ancient Romans used it in weddings for protection and also used it at the end of a meal for digestive. The Cherokee used parsley also as a tea for bladder issues and problems. Today, there are so many uses for it, whether when you look at parsley spiritually and you think that you know, or that you know now, okay, I'm going to be thanking my ancestors just like the ancient Greeks did when you eat a meal or eat some afterwards, as the Romans did to help for digestion and also for good breath. Or you can use it for the fantastic vitamins and nutrition that parsley has that we know about today. So I hope that next time you're using parsley in your meals that you are able to think of it in a different manner, and that whether or not you look at it medicinally, culinarily, spiritually, know that parsley is really beneficial for you, whether you're thanking your ancestors or for protection against, even if it's just bad breath and not bad spirits. So this is tonight's Sarson Suppers. Thank you for joining me and see you next time.